Hello, my name is Krishna Jyota CM. I am from the Mechanical Department, Tyagaraja College of Engineering, Madurai. So today I have come to present the topic Federal Structure and Distribution of Legislative and Financial Powers between the Union and the States for the course Constitution of India. So I will be presenting a set of slides about the same. Okay. So before we move into the federal system of India, we need to understand what is federalism. Federalism is basically an agreement, and the federalism is of two types, that is integration and disintegration. In integration, the states are combined to form a country, example USA. In disintegration type of federation, the country is divided into states or provinces in the case of Canada. The oldest form of federation is the USA, which was formed in 1787. And next we will be moving on to the two forms of government, that is the unitary and the federal. In a unitary form of government, only the central government has power, while in the federal form of government, the dual power is given. One is to the central and the next is given to the state, and the power is divided. So what are the salient features of a federal government? In a federal government, there is dual government, there is a written power, the supremacy of constitution, the judiciary in a federal government is independent, the legislation is bicameral, the power is divided among the government, and there is independency of the government. Next we will be moving on to the federal system in India. The federal system in India is not a federation. India is a federal system but not a federation. It also has unitary features included in, like many unitary features that we are adopted from countries like Canada. So the Canadian model of federation is followed, and the formation here is disintegration, that is, the country is divided into different states. We prefer to call the subunits as unions and instead of provinces. And in this in our style of government, the more powers are given to the central. Okay, so what are the characteristics of our federal India? The first characteristic is dual government. That is, there is two powers, that is the central government and the state government. Central government decides things like the defense, international affairs, railways, etc. State government has power over issues like health, agriculture, and etc. And there is a written constitution for our country. Please note that our country's constitution is one of the longest written constitution ever in the history. So our constitution is a really solid one, and it has a solid preamble, and which consists of 448 articles, 25 parts, and 8 schedules. Now talking about the division of power. The power is divided among the three lists, that is the union, state, and concurrent list. We will be getting on to the union, state, and concurrent lists later in the slides. There is also a subsidiary list, which it discusses about the issues that doesn't come in the union, state, and concurrent list. In case of there is a conflict between the union and the state, the center is given a higher preference. Now, we'll be moving on to the supremacy of constitution. In our country, there is a supreme law, and the divisions of powers is given. And next we will move on to the rigid constitution. Why do we need a rigid constitution? We need a rigid constitution to maintain the supremacy of the constitution. Our constitution, it cannot be changed or amended. If we have to change the constitution or amend something into it, it has to go through a large amount of discussions between the center and states. It should be held with a special parliamentary action or committees, reviews, and it all takes a lot of time. Next we'll move on to the independent judiciary. There are courts and laws in our country. It is all headed by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is independent of the government. If not, that is, if the Supreme Court is not independent of the government, what happens? Then the supremacy of the Constitution of India is compromised, and which results in the bias of center versus state dispute. So people know that the Supreme Court will be more biased to the center in terms of a conflict if a conflict arises between the state and the center. Now the bicameral legislature. So in our country we have two houses. It's called chambers or houses, but we prefer it to call houses. One is the Lok Sabha and the other is the Rajya Sabha. The Lok Sabha is for the people and the Rajya Sabha is for the states. Okay, now we will be talking about the distribution of legislative powers. The distribution of legislative powers is discussed in the articles 245 to 255 in the part 11 of our constitution. These include territorial jurisdiction of laws made by the parliament and by the legislature of states, distribution of legislative subjects, power of parliament to legislate with respect to a matter in the state list, central controls state legislation. The legislative subjects are divided into List 1, the Union List, List 2, the Concurrent List, and List 3, the State List. Presently, the Union List consists of 100 subjects, which are the Foreign Affairs, Defense, Railway, and etc. State List currently consists of 61 subjects, which are the Police, Public Order, Roadways. Concurrent List subjects consist of 52 subjects, including Education and Electricity. The Article 255 of the Constitution empowers the state to give directions to the states in certain cases in regards to the exercise of their executive powers. The Article 249 empowers the Parliament to legislate with respect to a matter in the state list in the national interest. Under Article 250, the Parliament becomes empowered to make laws on the matters related to the state list when national emergency is in operation. Under Article 252, the Parliament is empowered to legislate for two or more states by their consent. Next, we will be moving on to the distribution of financial power between the Union and the states. The Constitution deals with the center-state financial relationships in the Articles 268 to 293 of the Part 12. The Constitution has provided the Union government and the state government with independent sources of revenue. The Parliament has exclusive power to levy taxes on subjects mentioned in the Union List. The state legislature has exclusive power to levy taxes on the subjects mentioned in the state list. The subjects mentioned in the Union List include Foreign Affairs, Defense, Railway, etc. And the subjects which are mentioned in the state list include Police, Public Order, Roadways. Both Parliament and the state legislature are empowered to levy taxes on the subjects mentioned in the concurrent list. The Parliament has exclusive power to levy taxes on the matters related to residuary subjects. Article 275. The Parliament is authorized to provide grants and aid to any state as Parliament may determine to be in the need of assistance, and different sums may be fixed for different states. Article 282 of the Constitution says that the Union or a state may make any grants for any of the public purpose, notwithstanding that purpose is not one with respect to which the Parliament or legislature of the state, as the case may be, may make laws. Article 352. During the operation of the national emergency, the distribution of revenues between the centre and the states can be altered by the President. So this is what the national emergency is stopped. In Article 360, during the financial emergency, the executive authority of the Union shall give directions to any state to observe such canons of financial propriety as may be specified in the directions, and to give the directions as the President may deem necessary and adequate for the purpose. Thank you.